What's up, everybody? CIG just dropped a video about engineering. I thought we should watch it together, kind of give you my thoughts on it. Look forward to seeing what you say in the comments about it, and let's have some fun with it. All right, well, here we go.
Engineering, the next major step forward in multi-crew gameplay, built on top of the in-development resource networking system, itself a harbinger of fire and a new reality for all life aboard spacecraft. It's been the subject of CitizenCon presentations, Q&As on Star Citizen Live, explorations on Inside Star Citizen, and fervent discussion by many of the content creators in our community. And on this final episode of ISC before hiatus and we turn all of our attentions towards CitizenCon, we invited Torsten, Bastian, and Guillermo to update us once again on the current intention and implementation of engineering, and what you can expect when the first iteration makes its way into the persistent universe.
The resource network enables us to actually give you the gameplay that you were always looking for, which is having meaningful multi-crew gameplay, which
I don't know about that, guys. Do you? I think, yes, we need to be able to do things with our ship, but we've already been doing that for almost a decade. And I do think there needs to be really good gameplay loops, right? But it's questionable if what they're doing with engineering is going to completely revolutionize the game. I don't think so. I think it's going to make it more labor intensive and make you have to be like Tamagotchi with it. You know, you're going to have that little Tamagotchi type thing where, you know, you got to come back in and make sure your character's not, you know, dying of thirst or of food, not being enough, you know, that kind of thing. And it's apparently going to poop because they're real big on these toilets, but we'll see, right? But yeah, I mean, as far as the engineering to fix stuff, I think that could be fun. I just hope it's kind of like some other games like No Man's Sky where you've got like the creator mode and you've got like the real hardcore game mode. And if you don't want to be like, hey, look, my ship's on fire, that's fun, I'm all by myself, right? Like that you have that option. I don't think it'd be that hard to do. We'll see, I guess, right? Let me know what you think.
means that it really makes sense to have multiple people running around on your ship, and that wouldn't be possible without the resource network.
So we say the resource network is a system that allows all the items and components that are part of the ship to talk to each other.
Every ground vehicle, every base, everything that runs in Star Citizen with resources.
Fundamentally, Resource Network is a replacement for the pipe system we had in the past that you may have heard about.
We chose a similar system, basically doing most of what we are doing right now with the resource network, but in a way that was not as scalable as what we intend to do.
Landing complete.
So right now we just have one type of hydrogen fuel, but if we want to extend that in the future to having like multiple types that have some specific benefits on the thrusters, it's very easy now to add that resource. It's just a data setup.
So resource network is the underlying.
I think that's going to get into the nitty gritty of server meshing. The trend I've been seeing for the last year is they are building on all these features to generate money, to like get that moving. They've admitted in a recent video that they sell the tech essentially before the tech exists. So like the features, I should say. And they're getting to a point where the tech is here. And I think they're kind of on the line too with a few things that they have to produce something to a certain, you know, a certain point to keep going, I think. But anyways, it's just one of those things, I guess we'll see, right? I mean, at this point, I think the tech's there. If they ever had a year that was sink or swim, I think it's now. And what I was saying earlier is that they build all these little features up, and then they're really all kind of betting that it'll be pulled together when they get to server meshing. They found there's a little bit more of an issue since the person that originally kind of got the base of the game together for them isn't with them anymore. They're having to work around that. And I think that's where a lot of the server issues right now, since this new patch has been released, 3.24.1, I think that's because in the backside, we're not seeing what they're doing. I think, like, I've been kicked off of servers, and I know that was because a dev was there. I mean, there was no one else really on the server but me. So, I mean, it's kind of the same thing. We just don't know it. And so we got to be, I mean, it's frustrating, but this isn't an official game, right? We're being allowed to see the creation side of this. And I'm not trying to, completely stand up for them. I'm not biased to them at all. I'm not funded in any way by them. I'm private. This is my hobby, and I'm doing this for you guys. I want to have fun with you and build the community, and hopefully this game comes out, someday. At the worst case, maybe it'll come out for our kids, right? I mean, geez, at this point. But I have a feeling though, with the tech and everything, I think at the very latest by next year, like, it'll be night and day again. I mean, they're pretty good if you look at the track record. They make pretty huge steps within a year. And some people argue that, but I mean, I've looked back, I've been here for a while. I just haven't made that many videos because I've been watching, I'm one of those where, like, I'm not going to let it ruin my life. And I'm building real aircraft, real spacecraft. I love this. It's inspired what I'm doing at my business and work. But I'm looking forward to seeing this come together. And I think, let's not get too toxic. Let's try to just let it be whatever it's going to be, because you know what? With time, we're going to find out. And I really think by Christmas, we're going to have a huge idea of what CIG really is about, But that's just what I've got. What do you think? All right, let's get back to it.
Technology for the system to work, and engineering is the gameplay we intend to have on top of this technology so that players may experience it.
Your ship flies because, the thrusters get fuel, the power plants output power that the weapons and the sails and also the thrusters use. Engineering is all about both maximizing the use you get out of the resource network and also getting the resource network itself going so that you're not dead in the water.
It's all things that players will be able to interact with. They will have to dedicate roles in their ships so that crew members are assigned to fixing those issues, and they can encounter more dynamic situations that will not happen in the previous systems.
The goal right now is to have all the components on the ship being physicalized. That means that the things that will take damage will be the components. That then means that those components are the reasons to the failure of your ship.
We have the power plants, which generate.
And on that note, the failure of your ship, let's be honest, back to server meshing, everything we see is dependent on properly running, optimized, highest technology servers. Like, at this point, they need the best tech that can really run this properly, because this is a massive game, okay? Like, there is a huge following, and it has potential to have an even larger following. I mean, some might even argue this is like Ready Player One, the 1.0, I don't know. But anyways, again, everything in this video, grain of salt, because we need server meshing. That's what it comes down to. I think that's what they're betting on. I think they're a lot closer from the work and the things that's happening with the servers. It's frustrating for us, I know, but like, I think we got a chance within the, I'm saying within the next year, I'll be honest. I hope by Christmas, who knows, maybe the beginning in October, we'll see. But anyways, let's continue and see what they got to say.
The energy that your ship consumes. You have the shield generators, which take in some of that energy to convert it to shield power. You have a radar system that allows you to target the signatures of ships around you. You have coolers that generate a coolant resource.
It is all the weapons that you have, it's the quantum drive, but there are also new components that will be added to the mix, and that is the relay with its fuses. Then there's the life support generator. The biggest thing we are aiming for is switching from your health pool of the bespoke ship to just moving that completely over to the physicalized component. So damaging the component is damaging your ship.
Attack on shields.
I think this is the part where the biggest change for the players happen, because there the gameplay of repair comes in, and then you can revitalize your ship. So you can actually use your formerly dead in the water ship after exchanging or repairing the components.
Yeah, reuse your ship after repairing that relay they just showed, right? That'll be fun when pirates are trying to shoot you in the butt. Yeah. They won't come and kill you at all, no. I mean, and that's one of my pet peeves. I think pirating's fine. That's a game loop, whatever. But let's be honest, like, they push that pirating aspect a bit much. And, yeah, it's going to suck for people that just want to, I don't know, be a cargo runner or engineer or something like we're just talking about right now, the engineering. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see where it goes. I know there's other star systems that are planned that will be kind of like dad zones that are cool and chill, and probably like a good place for the 600i, you know, and that'll be cool, especially when they get like finally where you can have passengers and, you know, and like airliner type aircraft, right? But anyways, it's one of those things as it currently is, right? It's hard to love everything about what they're saying because the stuff they see is the broad picture or the big picture, right? It's not here yet. Like, again, it's still being built, and we're over a decade into this. Yeah, I mean, I had a comment about it's 12 years. How is it growing pains? Because that's how it is with them. Like, they admittedly didn't have the tech, though they acted like they did and they generated the funds because they knew long term this game could be amazing and they wanted to try. I think that's really what it is. I think they're very ambitious, and I think that they say whatever they have to say to get the game built. And if you don't like that, then I would walk away from this, honestly. Like, I don't want this to get toxic for anyone. It's not cool. It's just a game, essentially. And at this point, it's more like a life sim. It's not even a real game yet. So don't let yourself get toxic over this. It's not worth it, man. You're worth more. Honestly, I'm straight up saying it. You're worth more than how this game is making you feel if it's toxic. Like, you got to get away from that. It's my word of advice is if it don't feel good, don't be around it. Just ghost it. Go find something better. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, let's see what else they got to say. Let's get.
Well, we mentioned one of the new components, which is the life support generator. So let's talk about life support.
The life support does all the tasks necessary to maintain the life support inside a ship.
So it's the temperature, it's the atmosphere composition, it's the pressure inside the room. Your main responsibility is making sure that there's always enough life support resource produced to maintain a healthy atmosphere in the ship. So making sure that all the CO2 that you breathe out is actually converted into O2 again.
This makes, I think, probably everyone cringe. Because if you've ever been somewhere where it's glitched out, and I mean, I've been in elevators without a helmet, like on New Babbage, right, in Microtech, and like, I just couldn't breathe suddenly. I mean, there was a desync issue or something, who knows for sure. I mean, they do, but we don't, right? And it sucks. And when they're saying like, oh yeah, you're going to have this environment where if you know, you don't take care of your ship systems, you're going to not breathe. I mean, it sounds cool if it all worked, but like, again, this is almost hopeful though at the same time, because it gives me a little bit of like, maybe they are going to do it finally. Maybe they're finally get the server meshing implemented. That'll make it happen, because they're betting everything. I mean, they're pretty much going for broke on all these features, and they all depend on server meshing. That's all I'm saying. But isn't it a little cringe? They're like, you got to maintain your system so that you don't die. And you're like, oh crap, I got a C2. And the components are like way far away. Anyways. Or imagine on a Hull C. I'm doing a video on a Hull C. I'll release that soon. But anyway, it's like a huge ship, and like it's got its own issues. So I don't know. I'm really hoping, I'm going to be optimistic. give CIG the benefit of the doubt. I know they got a lot of people working their butt off. Respect to all the devs. I really appreciate what they're doing, and I'd like to see this go further. I really would. I think we all cringe when we see that you're like, you could basically die if you don't maintain, your atmosphere and everything through these, systems in the ship. I don't know. I mean, I'm not even going to go into it. Like, I was going to say elevators. Remember that? Yeah. Anyways, let's move on.
Again. Or if you vented a room, that the room is filled again. If your room is getting too hot, it's cooled down again. So it's all about managing this resource inside the rooms. And as already mentioned in the previous episodes, it's life support management is also a good way to counter fire. Another aspect the players have to counter or react to is misfires on components.
Misfires are something that is already in the game in some form.
Another cringe moment.
Steel generator failure, stuff like that. We're just expanding it a bit, and pretty much the idea is that items that are damaged, that are too hot, or that, for example, are very old and degraded, will start misfiring. In some cases, that will be that it will take some extra damage. In other,
I have to wonder. I mean, what is the motivation for CIG to do all this? It's almost like they're going to charge you something in the real world, because everything so far, honestly, it looks like it would require you to get credits from within the game, right? And so I'm wondering, like, what are they getting out of making you have to play the game more? Like, honestly, is that how they're making money in the long term? Is that their, like, long-term goals? Like, we'll sustain it by you playing all the time. I mean, I'm not hating on it because of that. I'm just saying, like, I'd like to know what it is. If you know, let me know in the comments. Like, this is kind of weird. Am I the only one that sees that it's like everything the game can do, it's like designed to be able to gobble your credits up, and it's really frustrating, especially right now. You can work 8 hours only to get 100,000 UEC, right? And then finally be able to use something like a Hall C to make some actual credits, and then it's all gone because of some crazy desync glitch, I don't know. It's weird. And then you got the fees if your ship glitches out that you got to pay the insurance to speed up if you want to be able to play in less than half an hour, So I don't know. I'm kind of wondering what all that's really about. Is it, to help the servers not have as much load? Is it for them to get you there longer and, show they've got lots of players for longer? I don't know. But if you know, let me know. I'm excited to learn. I mean, that's what I'm here for, to learn from the community, to help you learn and answer your questions. But anyways, let's get back to it.
cases they will stop working for a while. Other times they will work indefinitely until an engineer comes by and manages to do some repairs. And some of the worst cases would be starting a fire, or in the case of, for example, power plants, engaging in a critical reactor failure and taking the ship with them.
There is a chance that if the power plant reaches 0 health, it will run into a critical failure, and that critical failure then will cause the entire ship to explode. It will give the player the time frame to react to that, so either by removing the component and throwing it out of the door and preventing your ship to explode, or even countering it by repairing the component and bring it.
Can you imagine that? Hold my beer. I gotta throw that component out before we get vaporized. I mean, it's kind of cool, but I mean, holy heck. Anyways.
To life again. For the initial release, we have a limited amount of misfires, but we are preparing the system, or we did prepare the system to scale well for the future, so we can introduce multiple misfires, and that leads us to damage penetration.
So damage penetration is a simplified version of what we'll be getting eventually with a more physicalized system, but essentially what it means is that now certain types of weapons can penetrate through the hull of a ship. This is a function of the weapon itself, its penetration values, and also of the armor of the ship, which can be depleted over time.
So if you use ballistics, you have a higher penetration, which allows you to cut through the armor more deeply and touch the components inside the ship directly. As opposed to this, you also have energy weapons, which will be more effective at melting down the armor.
The goal here is that you first need to bring down the armor health value to get to the fullest potential of your penetrating weapons. Then you can penetrate the ship and actually damage the components that sit inside the ship and not on the outside of the hull.
When they're saying armor, are they talking about shields or actual armor? So are there 3 parts to this, like shields, armor, and then penetration? Like, I think in real world, isn't armor related to penetration? Like, if you have armor piercing rounds, it will penetrate, right? Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm confused. If you know, let me know. Because like I said, I'm still learning on that aspect. I'm more of a hauler, explorer, you know what I mean, at heart. So that's what I've been doing more. But I'd love to learn more about like the combat and mercenary aspect. So leave me some comments down there. Let me know what you think. Anything I should know, you know. Anyways, let's move on.
Obviously, there's degrees to this. Larger ballistic weapons may have enough penetration against smaller ships that it will be able to penetrate directly, but it's all of a game of choices, and it's going to depend on your ships and your weapons.
So with damage penetration and misfires happening, that brings us to repair.
As your fight progresses and components take damage in your ship, it becomes the duty of some of your crew members to first investigate what are the issues caused by battle damage.
Yeah.
And go there to physically replace the parts in your ship.
So you have your multi-tool, so you have the salvage and repair, and the repair part of it also affects now ship components, precisely like what you see in the...
Makes sense.
You will be able to repair items that were fully destroyed. You will not be able to repair the item to its fullest, so you cannot repair an item that got fully destroyed to 100%.
Didn't he just say that you could restore it to its fullest, and now they're saying its fullest isn't its fullest? I don't know. That's weird, but okay. I mean, as long as it still works, I guess enough to get you where you can replace it. But again, that's going to grab more credits, right? It's going to be a definite, interesting part of this gameplay, right? Let's see.
% health again. So to repair your ship components to the fullest, you actually have to bring them to the shop again and do the station repair.
That was like, that was contradictive, right? Like, I'm not crazy. He said you can repair them to their fullest, and then that they won't be able to be repaired to their fullest. And then at the end, to repair them to their fullest, you have to go here, right? Like, okay. Interesting.
Did think ahead and brought spare items with you, you can simply exchange them to pristine new ones. But with the caveat, it only works, just as a reminder, for size 1 and size 2 components. Size 3 and above cannot be exchanged using the tractor beam detach and attach mode. So now that we looked at what your responsibilities are in the physical space running around in your ship, let's take a look at what you do on the virtual part, which is power management and analysis of your ship on the engineering screen. So the first thing that you will see is the 3D view of your ship that highlights the location of all the ship components and how...
We kind of already have that, right? When it's like in the left top corner whenever you're in game, which is really cool. So I'm glad to see they're doing more with this.
They are actually connected, where the relay positions are, what the status of the relays are. You will see the holograms of each component.
As you can see, they have different colors. What they are representing is the overall state of the item. So an item that is very damaged, or it's on fire, or it's not getting enough power, will be in a critical state.
It's on
Items
fire.
that are less damaged, are receiving only partial resources, or are going through a misfire, may have moderate colors. And items that are otherwise fine will have the functional or blue colors.
The biggest change that happened to the engineering UI screen is basically the power management part of it. We moved away completely from slider control for every individual item. There is indicator now for fuel. This is not relevant for the initial release, but it will be relevant for the future. Next to it, you see the power plant. The power plant segments gives you an idea of how many power segments you can distribute to the ship items.
And
This is really cool, but like, this is like getting real life on us. Like, I don't think this is a game, guys. I think this really is meant to be a space sim, because what they're doing with the ship mechanics and everything, whoa, right? It's cool, but whoa.
on the right of each of the power bars, you can generally see the temperature bar. If it goes into overheating, the item will stop both consuming or producing, and it will be completely inoperable until it cools down again. So that means that assigning power to your coolers in advance is probably a good idea if you're going into a fight.
All the items on your ship generate heat, so this is where you can see the amount of heat that each item has accumulated, and you can see the amount of coolant that you are producing and whether or not you are also running a deficit. So what you want to do is put as much power as you can into the coolers until your items do not overheat, but do not assign more resources than necessary because you are running a limited pool of resources.
The same applies to the life support generator.
I like his accent. He's pretty cool. You can tell he's a little nervous though, right? He's talking really fast. A cool guy.
So you have to make sure that you produce enough life support resource that the demand is fulfilled in your ship. If your demand isn't fulfilled, it will cause some failures.
There's also a notifications panel. Here the main warnings about the state of the ship will be displayed. If an item is damaged, doesn't get enough power, or is misfiring, it will create a warning. You will be able to see it as a notification. Take a look at it, go to the item, or just remove it.
So you have an option that allows you to basically log the controls so that you or the pilot, which has access to the MFD, which shares some of the power management functionality, do not conflict with your controls. So by locking this, you are able to override the MFD settings to only have it being authoritative from the engineering station.
You are able to take the power assignment you have at a given time and save it locally on your computer, meaning that when you fly again with the ship, or even if it's not your ship but somebody else's ship, you can quickly apply your presets. This is very useful in the middle of combat.
I've got to say something. This is cool, but, okay. So if anyone knows about cinematic mode in camera, and you can save like certain like positions for where your camera will be when you're like running around and stuff, they get wiped every other time that I log in. I don't know about but you guys, so let me know what you have. But again, this is kind of hinting like, hey, we need server meshing, but look at the cool stuff we were going to do and we're about to do. And so, dude, it's just like we've been hearing for years, like, this is cool stuff, and I'm glad they're developing it, and it could all come together if they can get the tech, the hardware, the servers all implemented and refined and working properly. And again, I believe that leads us to one of the big ones, server meshing. So hopefully we're going to be surprised in October and be like, whoa, server meshing's coming, or it's here, you know, like Merry Christmas or something at the latest, right? But anyways, this is cool. I think we all can agree that being able to save these presets will save us a crap load of time, considering there's so much you can do now with it, which is really cool. And I have to say, I love the look of this system, the HUDs, this new like setup that they have here. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I just watched a video of mine from like 2 years ago, and I was looking at these as I was editing, and I was like, whoa, like we have come so far. Like the last videos, like one of the, actually the first videos I posted, it was 2 years ago, and we had just got clouds, like actual clouds. And it was such a game changer. And now here we are, and look at this. Like I really believe we're close to server meshing. I sure hope so, because I feel like, again, it's sink or swim. You know, this year, it's either hello or goodbye, I feel like. And you can see a lot of like up and down, you know, there's animosity and there's some hate and, you know, some still a little bit of love, I think, thankfully. Hopefully by the end of this, we'll have a lot of love. But anyways, cool feature. I hope it works. I hope it works really soon. And I hope we're all like, thank you, CIG, for proving some of us wrong. But anyways, let's finish this video up.
You can quickly switch to a combat preset where you will give, for example, more power to shields, weapons, and thrusters. Or at the same time, you may want to have some nap mode preset where you reduce the power to everything and just put it on the bare minimum so there's no degradation or misfires related to power use.
So you can set a preset on your ship and then jump on somebody else's ship and load it up?
Indeed. Your presets are stored locally, so as long as you have access to the screen and you're using the same ship, you can apply a preset. Obviously, if the components have changed or the ship has a different loadout, the preset might not apply perfectly and you might need to adjust it, but it gives you a quick baseline on how your power is assigned.
That seems a little bit rough because, I mean, he's like, yeah, it'll work, but it might not work. And we know how that goes. Just saying. So, I don't know. Seems like it'd be cool though, right? Especially when you're doing like team missions and stuff. That would actually be nice. Like, hey Bob, be the pilot, Anyways, let's get it done.
We hope that with these changes, players will have more varied opportunities to experience the game. We'll encounter more situations where it feels relevant and enjoyable to have multi-crew gameplay in the ships, so that you do not think it's just about filling in the battle positions like the turrets and the pilot seats, but it's more involved gameplay to actually manage your ships and try to fix the ongoing situations that occur within them. And we also hope that this makes larger vehicles which have more interior space both more troublesome but also more enjoyable to play with.
We are still working hard to get it done for all of you. There are ships that already have the functionality. There are still ships that we are working on. But overall, we are super excited to finally get it into the PU. So the Arena Command Experimental Mode was already fun to observe what you can do with the entire system. And now with having the feedback from that, adjusting the gameplay a little from the feedback that we received from you, I am really looking forward to see what you all will be doing with it.
So what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that there's a sweet new interface for dedicated engineering terminals aboard spacecraft. That the first implementation of armor and damage penetration means that the ways that you kill and keep your spaceships alive will fundamentally change. And that when this arrives in the PU, life aboard spaceships will never be the same again. Now, that's it for this season of Inside Star Citizen, while everybody here turns their focus towards the upcoming CitizenCon, where we'll be showcasing the future of Star Citizen beyond Alpha 4.0. Yes, it's a show you're not going to want to miss. So from the small team that makes every ISC, thank you so much for letting us stretch our proverbial wings this year. Thank you for continuing to let us share the people and process of game development with you, and we'll see you all back here after the big show. Wow, I can't believe we got to.
All right, well, that's it. I think it was interesting how at the end it was kind of like, yeah, this is cool, but anyways, I think it was a pretty good video. Thanks for watching with me. CitizenCon is coming up, and I mean, October's just around the corner, so I think last I looked it was like about 30 days on the dot. But anyways, it's going to be cool. No, the servers are going to be glitchy as all crap for you new players that don't know that. I think on top of it this year, because I really believe they're trying to present possibly server meshing or something close, like 4.0. And it's going to probably be a little bit glitchier this year than most on, gameplay and stuff as we get closer to CitizenCon. That's just my guess. And I'm talking live server, because if you know anything about this, you know that they need to test this with a large volume of people, so that when they go to present it, possibly at a CitizenCon or something similar, that it won't just crash immediately when everyone goes to like rush the servers and start playing it, right? Anyways, that's just my thoughts. I enjoyed watching the video with you guys. I'm going to do more of these. I've got a video on the Hull C coming up next week. I could use your support, just, feedback and, just liking, and if you haven't subscribed, subscribe. I want to give a shout out to my favorite YouTubers as far as Star Citizen, Mr. Tomato, Salty Mike, keep it real, hang in there, buddy, and Subliminal, believe it or not. I don't hear enough about him in my area, but I know he's still out there and he does awesome videos, especially on loadouts. So if you haven't, check out Subliminal, and all the other YouTube creators out there. Okay, give them some love. It's been a hard time for them, for all of us really, because there's a lot of controversy this year over the game and where it's at. And I mean, it's kind of been that way every year around this time, but I think more so this year because we're really getting to a point where it's like sink or swim. But anyways, thank you guys so much. This is Zach Otherworld out. See you in the verse, guys. Have a good one.
Black skies glowing.